Today, I'm going to show you my bills. What is the cost of living in the Temecula Murrieta Valley? That's what we're talking about today. Hi, Jessica Genung here with Active Realty and the Genung team. We're gonna get right to my bills. This is a mid-2021 update to a video that I did in 2019. I am gonna actually show you bills for two different homes that we've lived in. One set of bills is for my current home and one is for my previous home that I sold about 2 years ago so that you can compare. My previous home was smaller at 1837 square feet, but it had a pool and a spa. My current home is a larger house at about 3,700 square feet with no pool, but because of the size, we have 2 air conditioner units. The smaller pool home only had 1 air conditioner unit. I wanted you to be able to compare the energy use of the smaller home versus a larger home. Let's talk about the cost to maintain the pool. For my previous home, we paid about $110 a month for professional weekly cleaning, which also included the chemicals. There are cheaper services out there for like under $100 or even $80 if you can find somebody. But what I liked about my pool guy at the time and why I was willing to pay a little bit more was because he could also do repairs. Not all pool maintenance guys can do the repairs, and stuff is always breaking, it seems. I think that it's really important that they can do both. During our ownership of that home, we had to replace the pump, the filter cartridge unit. I think that we also had to replace the vacuum too at one point, among various other things. We ended up putting in a variable speed pool pump. I think it was about $1,400. There were some tax credits that we received, and like the pool guy and the supply stores, they're all about it. They can show you how much more efficient the variable speed pool pump can be and how much money it saves. Maybe it does break even eventually, but I do think that it would take a few years and some deep analysis, which we're not going to do here to prove that, but it's definitely nicer to have the quieter and newer unit. People often do not know about one hidden fee as it relates to owning a pool. I always joke that the cost of maintaining the pool is actually nothing compared to the cost of all of your friends that are always inviting themselves over to use your pool, because that happens. Let's get back to the bills, and after this section, we're going to talk about the cost to buy a home in today's market. We're going to touch a little bit on the property taxes and talk about how much more expensive it is to hire contractors to do home upgrades over this past year. So stay tuned for that after this section. But real quick, if you are finding this information helpful, we would love it if you would subscribe and like this video or comment. This helps YouTube know that our content is good, and it will help more people see it. All right, so we're gonna take a look at my bills. Both of these homes are in Murrieta, where we live. They should be very similar to a Temecula home and the Menifee home. It's the same general area. So we're gonna start with the spring. We're gonna look at spring, summer, fall, winter, so that you can see, as the weather changes, how the bills vary. So, starting with the smaller pool home, kind of interesting thing. So we owned the smaller pool home about 2 years ago, so there is a little bit of a time difference, but the utilities haven't gone up that much since then, so this should give you a general idea. But the water bill was surprisingly low, only $87 at the pool home. You would think that it would have been more than our current home, but we do a lot more watering at our current home. The lot's only about 1,000 square feet larger, but we do have a lot more trees and things to water. So water is more in the bigger home. It looks like gas is a little bit more in the larger home. Electricity is more in the larger home. So like I said, we had the variable speed pool pump at the pool home, so we think that helped on our electric bills, and we only had 1 air conditioner unit. Now we have 2 air conditioner units. We work from home, we have small kids, so we are running them a lot. So we weren't running them very much in the spring though, so $120, that's typically when we're not running the air. Interesting enough, over the 2 years, it looks like that our cell phone bill went up about $50, and our cable internet bill has gone up $20 in those. I believe that we had Spectrum at the old house, and we have Frontier over at this house. Those are the couple of the main providers in our area. Okay, we're moving on to my bills in the summer. So for the larger house, the water is still more, and the water for the smaller pool home, the water bill did increase as well, because your pool water is evaporating and the automatic fill is having to fill it more often, so that makes sense. Very low natural gas bill in the summer, because where that can get kind of high is when you're running the heat. So we'll see that bill increase. But electricity in the summer, I believe I pulled this from July, you know, is like the peak of the summer, July, August. So the electricity bill definitely goes up then, and was more in the larger house with the 2 air conditioner units versus the smaller house with the pool. And that wraps up the summer. So moving into the fall, you know, the water bill is still more than it was in the spring. It looks like that, I think I took these from October, so it looks like it might have still been hot, because the electric bills are still fairly on the high side. So more, you know, higher for the water bill in the larger home again. Natural gas bill is still pretty low because we're not running the heat at that point. Electricity is still on the high side. I can tell that we're running the air a little bit here, even though it's October. Maybe the beginning of October was still kind of hot. One thing that I didn't have in these months on my slides is the garbage bill. So I'll just touch on that briefly. It must have happened on different months. We pay our garbage bill here quarterly. So when you do the 3 barrels, so you have the recycling, the green barrel, and your regular trash barrel, it's about $60. Now at our current house, because we have so many like trees and shrubs that need to, that we're trying to clean up, quite frankly, we ordered an additional green bin. So now our bill is like in the 90 something dollars. So it's like an extra $30 to get another green barrel. All right, lastly, we're going to talk about winter. I pulled this from January. So the main difference, you know, water is about the same. It's a little bit less than what it was in the summer for both houses, because I do turn our sprinklers off when we're getting a lot of rain. So that helps save, and then we're not having to fill the pool so much on the smaller pool home. The main difference here is going to be the natural gas bill. So when we're running the heater a lot, the natural gas bill is going to go much higher. So, you know, $167 in the new house, that is a high gas bill for our area and what we're used to paying. Versus, you know, some of the summer months when we're not running the heater at all, $25 to $30 is what our typical gas bill is without the heat. All right, so we're going to move on to the cost of housing, which has been increasing very rapidly if you've been watching any of my market updates. So we're going to start with it. We're going to do the median sales price for Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee. So currently, our median sales price in Temecula is $640,000 compared to $600,000 in Murrieta. So it's about $40,000 cheaper. Compare that to $505,000 in Menifee. So Menifee is about $100,000 cheaper, $95,000 to be exact, than Murrieta. All right, so we are going to go over the cost to buy a single family home in our area. So we're going to do Temecula, Menifee, Murrieta, and starting with Temecula, the current median sales price is $640,000, which is up 23% from last year. So we're mid-2021 right now. So back mid-2020, it was basically $520,000. So that's a 23% increase. Moving on to Murrieta, it is $600,000, the median sales price of the single family home, compared to a year ago, it was only $475,000. So that's up 26%. So Murrieta is about $40,000 cheaper to buy a single family home than Temecula. Moving on to Menifee. Menifee's median sales price currently is $505,000 compared to just a year ago. It was $407,000, so that is up $100,000 or 23% again. So, but even still, Menifee is about $95,000 less expensive than Murrieta to buy a single family home. Let's talk briefly about the property taxes for the 2 different properties. So my previous home, the smaller pool home, only had about $220 in special assessments for the whole year. Our current home has about $1,700 in special assessments for the whole year. So you're gonna have your base rate of about 1.1% plus the special assessments, and that's a yearly figure, like I said. So the smaller pool home was built in the year 2000. In the year 2000 and older, you have much lower special assessments. 2004 is where they started tacking on the special assessments, but even at $1,700, that still is fairly reasonable for our area. I call that medium, almost medium low taxes. New construction right now is, most of the communities are well over $4,000 in special assessments. So there is a big range between the newer homes and the older homes as far as property taxes go. Let's talk about how the cost of home improvement projects has increased over the past year. In my market updates and my new construction videos, I talk a lot about the cost of materials going up this year, such as lumber prices. The builders are giving each phase large price increases due, mostly they say, to the increase in the price of lumber. A lot of materials have increased in price lately, and I think that it's a combination of these materials increasing, but as well, there's some opportunism in there. So a lot of companies, they're trying to take advantage of our current situation, and they're raising their prices and they're trying to maximize their profit. As an example of a home improvement project that is, I'm seeing price inflation, we have been replacing our wooden fence on the side of our house. So we did one side of the house with our neighbor in the fall of last year, and it was around $32 a linear foot. This year, we wanted to do the other side. We got a quote in May, which was $42 a linear foot, same company. So that was an increase of 30% or $1,000 after doing the math in full. Chris pushed back a little bit on the vendor quote, and it's a really reputable company here in the Copper Canyon area that we live, and we've used before. We like them, they do good work. But the vendor talked about their materials costs like resin, and they went so far as to share an email from their supplier, which gave them a 7% increase. So we would be fine with a 7% or maybe even a 10% increase for a few $100s on top of the $3,400 price. But like I said, it was 30% or $1,000 or more. A lot of contractors are really raising their prices right now. Hope this helped you get a good idea for the cost of living in our area. Thanks for watching. See you next week.